Debt Management Office, on behalf of the Federal Government of Nigeria, listed the Pioneer Green Bond in the Nigeria Stock Exchange. At an event which attracted key market stakeholders, the Green Bond, which is the first ever issued in Africa, marked a turning point for sustainable financing in Nigeria. CEO of the exchange, Mr. Oscar Onyema, in his opening remarks, shared the essence of the listing.
Green bonds represent a turning point and a new paradigm for our markets. As you're all aware, Nigeria, as a party to the Paris Climate Agreement, has committed to achieving specific climate change objectives embedded in her nationally determined contributions. These objectives require huge capital investments, and particularly so for Nigeria, given the huge infrastructural deficit, which is estimated at $3 trillion over the next 25 years. Fortunately, green bonds represent a unique opportunity for financing our climate change objectives, delivering on critical infrastructure gaps, and unlocking the economic growth potential of this country. As the world transitions away from a fossil-based economy to a more climate-aware one, it is inevitable that foreign exchange revenues from exports of these products will eventually decline. Green bonds therefore provide a way in which much needed capital can be mobilized to finance the infrastructural requirements needed for sustainable growth and stave off any impending crisis from demand and supply imbalances in the external sector. The scope of green bonds in our market cuts across virtually every facet of our economy, from energy and transport to waste management and agriculture, and provides distinct opportunities for issuers of green bonds across various industries. Not only do these projects provide climate-enhancing benefits, they also provide a unique means by which issuers can attract a different crop of investors and further diversify their capital structures. Green bonds represent a growing asset class and provide investors a unique way of diversifying their portfolios with the benefits of increased governance, transparency, and reporting on the associated investment vehicles. The Nigerian Stock Exchange, for its part, recognizes the importance of a well-developed capital market in supporting the capital expenditure efforts of public and private sector entities. This realization informed our efforts at conceptualizing and developing the Green Bond product paper, which was embraced and championed by the former Honorable Minister for Environment, Mrs. Amina Mohammed. With the launch of the Green Bond, the government has been able to raise funds for the financing of key capital projects, while also creating a benchmark for the efficient pricing of future issuances from the corporate sector. We are indeed elated to see the materialization of green bonds in our market and to catalyze its adoption by other actors towards the development of the sustainable finance sector in Nigeria.
The Director General Debt Management Office, Ms. Pat Oniha, and the Minister of State Environment, Malam Usman Ibrahim Jibril, at the floor of the Nigeria Stock Exchange, spoke on the significance of the listing and the value to the market and economy.
I think the opportunity of listing the bond today represents a journey that started some time ago and involved several parties working together to make it happen. So we're grateful to all the parties that worked with us to issue the bond. As you all know, the Debt Management Office is the government's agent for issuing securities. So we're happy to have worked extremely closely with the Federal Ministry of Environment to put together this bond. And we're also very happy that we're able to issue a security that we can say for this exact amount that was raised on behalf of the federal government, which represents part of the public debt, that these are the specific projects that the proceeds are going to, because it is useful for us to be able to say borrowed funds were properly utilized but even more than that, that they were used for capital projects. And again, our expectation when we issue securities like that, in this instance, the green bond is our first green bond and also the first green bond in Africa. And from what we understand, it is the fourth to be issued, across the world. Obviously, some amounts are larger, but this is our first time, and we are grateful for the support we have received from all stakeholders. I think what is unique about the bond, one of the unique features of the bond, is this has to do with climate change. It is true that we borrow to fund various capital projects and various other activities of government, but this is unique because we are at a time when there are environmental issues all across the world, and Nigeria is no exception. So we're glad to be able to issue the debut sovereign green bond for the purpose of financing projects that help us preserve our environment and protect it. And our charge to operators like yourselves in the market is that we expect the bonds to be liquid. So investors have invested in the bond and they expect to see some trading so as to encourage them to invest again. So we expect to see that support from the distinguished stockbrokers. Many of you have been trading for a while, so we expect to see your support in that area. And then finally, the federal government is only in this capacity acting as a pioneer. As some of you would know, we typically will come up with new products in the domestic market and in the international markets for the purpose of financing government, but also to sort of go through that first process that is usually difficult and tough so that it becomes easier for state governments and for corporates to follow the same path. So we expect that for some of you that are advisors around here, will be able to work closely with your customers who are corporates or state governments to be able to do the same thing in the interest of the entire republic. Thank you very much.
Last year, we had about 3 instruments, international treaties that were ratified by the president. And this is no small measure because all of them had to do with environmental issues as well as climate-related activities. So it's no surprise that we've gone into the capital market and issued the green bond, and today we are making another history by listing it into the Nigerian Stock Exchange. We thank the management team of the Nigerian Stock Exchange for collaborating and cooperating with us. And by the way, they initiated this in the very beginning, brought up the proposal, and we grabbed it. We saw an opportunity, and with the active support of the Federal Ministry of Finance through the Debt Management Office, today we're here to list this instrument in the capital and the stock exchange. This is a significant milestone, and we believe it will be replicated. This is just the beginning. It's a modest start, but we're encouraged by what we have seen, and we believe we can do more. We are harvesting other products from the other MDAs, and I believe before the year runs out, the Debt Management Office will come up with a program where we'll go to the capital market to do another issuance. This is something that is worth commending. We commend all the key players and stakeholders for giving us the necessary cooperation. Climate change is real. You cannot run away from it. And even though there are some doubting Thomases, but we know it. We're staying here in Lagos. We know what ocean surges can do. We know what coastal erosion is all about. We know about flooding in different parts of this country. We know about desert encroachment. So we cannot afford to joke with the destiny of our country. We're encouraged by the support we have received so far. We will count on you to continue to give us the necessary cooperation. And we thank you most immensely that when we come again, it will definitely be on a higher and bigger scale. Thank you very much.
After the closing gong ceremony, the Minister of State Environment gave further insight on the green bond listing.
Like I said earlier on, that program 47 of the Economic Growth Plan talks about financing green economy, and we are trying to align ourselves with that goal in order to sustain our economy through green projects. We realize the fact that budgetary provision alone cannot be sufficient for us to do a lot of activities on the environment. So there is a need to go the extra mile to look at other sources, and Green Bond happens to be one of those viable sources that we believe can help us produce and give us additional funding that will assist us in attacking climate-related issues. That's why we're here at the stock exchange. That's why we launched the first Green Bond, and that's why we intend to do it again, to be able to raise more capital to assist in environmental issues.
Described as a new chapter for green financing in the country, the 10.46 billion naira green bond listing in the Nigeria Stock Exchange is a new opportunity for deepening the market and economy.